if you don't like what's happening, then you have a fucking moral obligation to win. Like, you need to get in the fucking game and you need to play your heart out and do what your soul put you on this fucking earth to do. Like,
Hallelujah, praise the Lord. DR, make sure you take that and you turn it into a clip because that was fucking take me to church, preach that shit. I'm all in.
Oh, hello. We're talking about my tits.
most of the time,
Girl on girl on girl.
you would.
Like, stop picking up the fucking hot knife.
Fucking cares.
Right on track.
Ugh.
With a lot of money, I would do great fucking things.
But not in a good way.
Yikes.
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 Yikes. Where's the realness?
Yeah. Everything you want. Immaculate experience.
Back down.
Be getting like excited.
I do actually.
Leave the tequila.
Hello. Welcome to the podcast. You don't know this, but this is like our 10th time trying to get on here today.
Riverside was being a real whore today, I'll tell you that.
Oh, such a cunt. Such a cunt. Oh, not into it.
Contosaurus Rex. Contosaurus Rex.
Yeah, I was like, how was your session? It's like the thumbs up or thumbs down. And I was like, thumbs down.
I'd like to send a Yelp report now. It was
Terrible.
so bizarre though. We had so many funny things coming up. We were just like, it was so weird. And we started the podcast with you saying you're like, my hair's dripping. And I was like, well, welcome back to the podcast, everybody.
But it is. I literally have like drips of water all over my arm and my leg because, well, I got home from the gym and I was like, I look like a disheveled mess. And this is actually offensive to get on the video and show Christine just what a scrub I am. So,
Well, now that we're actually pulling clips too, I look
Yeah.
back to some of our old podcasts. I'm like, I look so fucking hideous. It's not even funny. But I'm like, who cares? Like, it's good to have ones where I'm like, no makeup, wearing fucking sweatpants, probably no fucking bra, no underwear, just like sitting around like a fucking rabied squirrel. Just like, nobody will ever see these videos. And now they're all on YouTube. I'm like,
they're
yeah,
all on YouTube.
ooh, sweet, okay.
Goody.
Guess I should wear pants to my podcast now.
Well, you don't really see your legs unless you want to stand up and shake your butt for us. I mean,
mean,
I'm
I
not
could.
opposed to it. I'm
I
not.
could.
I'm not going to say no.
You're with your dripping hair and all this. I'm like,
I
we are
know.
we are in the sex quarter right now. So I
We
mean,
really are. We
trust
really
me.
are. And I just realized I'm wearing a white shirt. So like if this hair like drips on my shirt and gets it wet, my tits are going to be out anyway.
We're
So
having a wet t-shirt contest.
Eh,
Oh, well, we're back
oh,
and
that wasn't the best intro ever. I don't know what is.
drippity drip drip. Well, we're back, friends.
Back.
It's my first podcast back post Europe. Just got
Yeah.
back.
Welcome back.
Kelsey
So
and I were
back home.
separated for what felt like 3 years, and it was actually 10 days, but you know, feels in the Club Unhinged world, it feels like that.
In our vortex, it's an eternity.
I know. Well, our like you were saying, our time zones have always been, you know, a couple hours difference, maybe 3 hours max. So to have me in London, which was 8 hours, and then Greece for 6, 7 days, which was 10 hours ahead, I was like, this is fucking crazy. So
It's nuts. So nuts.
I know.
But we survived.
We survived.
Got through it, and you're back. And
First world problem. We didn't talk for 10
friends
days.
on the other side of the world.
I know. I'm in Greece. I feel so terrible. Oh my God. We're so fucking illegal. I love it. People are like, Jesus Christ, people, what are you talking about today? Today, friends, we're talking about the old negativity bias that we have, that everybody has.
Yes.
Which is so fun.
Oh, yeah. It's a real delight.
And the reason we're talking about this is Kelsey and I were like, what are we going to talk about today? And I was sharing about how I had the best trip. It was amazing. And when I got back, people, of course, are like, oh my God, how was your trip? I was watching, you know, following you on stories and all the things. It looks incredible. And I was like, it's so funny because my brain instantly wants to go to the one argument, the one like negative thing that happened on the trip, which is my boyfriend and I got in like a little tiff.
Yep.
Got a little tiff. And it's just so funny how the brain, like I just noticed it. Obviously, I caught it right away. I was like, no, I'm not fucking going down that. But it's funny how one like negative quote, you know, perceived negative, which it wasn't even negative because I actually really find like Steve and I's repair is so good. I actually saw a post the other day that said like the longevity or the quality of relationship is not about like how great you get along or how well you know, how many things you have in common or your values or whatever it was. It was like how well you repair and like how quickly and how you handle conflict. And I was just like, holy fuck, like we do that really, really well. So sometimes having these things actually does show me the strength of our relationship. But it's just funny how that thing, like how that one thing could have wanted to try to paint
Color.
the
Yeah.
entirety of my like 11-day European trip with literally thousands of amazing, like mind-blowing moments. But it's so funny how that's the first thing. And now, of course, if I had been on default mode, I wouldn't have caught that and I would have probably just launched into that. But I'm like, oh my God, this is hilarious. And I was like, no, my trip was fucking amazing. And I just had a call or just had a client call and she was like, how was it? I'm like, honestly, it was amazing. I said, London was incredible, like the food, the culture, like it was just like rich with abundance. Like that was Greece for me. I went to Crete and Greece was like as I was there driving through the mountains and eating food and in the ocean, I was like the word abundance, like this is the embodiment of abundance
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. There's a richness to it, there's like a wholeness to it, like all the food is whole food. It's not excess, it's not overage, it's not this like more. It's just like everything serves a purpose. Everything is like, oh, it's just unprocessed, it's whole, it's real. And I was just like, oh my God, this is immaculate. Um, but so many amazing things. I totally treated myself and upgraded myself to first class on the way down. I was traveling solo and I totally pulled like a rogue moment and I was like, you know what? I wonder how much first class is. Like, I'd be really nice to like sleep on the plane. And I was going on an overnight flight, and I just went up and I was like, "What is it?" I think it was like 1,700 or something, and then for 1,600, and I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna fucking do it." I just had my best month of business. Like the fact that I can do that right now was just like everything. Like I was like coming from where I came from in my relationship with money and how I treated myself and how I valued all that stuff. There was just this moment of like, that feels fucking amazing. And I'm going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And like that empowerment and that power, the richness of feeling that when I used to like hate myself and hated like just such a bad relationship with money and would have never even fathomed, like always would separate myself from that. It was just like there was this, wasn't doing it for to look a certain way. I wasn't doing it to show off. It was just more of this like, this feels so nourishing to me and I'm gonna fucking do it. And I did it. And like, just there's so many moments like that. Steve had to work one day, I went out shopping and I saw this dress that was like, I just walked in, I was like, oh my God. It had like a fucking vibe. It was like kind of like sexy, but not sexy. It was like hot schoolgirl kind of hot. Like it was just this like boutique in London and it was like navy
Got
blue,
it.
with these like gold buttons down. And like there's no boob showing or anything. It's just like short sleeve, white kind of frilled on the bottom, but it was just like a fucking vibe. And I looked at it and it like looked at me and I was like, whoa,
For soulmates.
we're soulmates. And I looked at the price tag and it was like 300 pounds, which is like $600. And I was like, I can't like what? Like, and I was like, tried it on. I was like, you're coming home with me. Bought it. Like, there were so many moments like that where I was like, the peace and just how you were talking the other day in our mentorship call about the conversations with God, about how you don't know something until you've known the opposite of it,
Yeah, the contrast of it
the
first.
contrast of it first. Like having the contrast of um
Not
just so
have
many experiences, not having it, not having money, not having choice, not having freedom, and looking at all the things that I had to stay in because I didn't have
yeah.
power or money or choice or confidence or any of those things. Like experiencing myself in these places and just being like, this is a dream. I remember one time with my ex-fiance when I was like 19. That's another story for another day. I remember when we were in that relationship, I remember staring at like photos of like crystal clear blue water and being like, one day I'll travel. We didn't travel a lot when I was a kid. We didn't have a lot of money. And so we didn't like go on family trips and stuff. And so I remember staring at that and thinking, oh my God, I wonder if one day, and talking to him, being like, would be so crazy if one day we could go to these places. And in my mind, I was like, I need to be in this relationship because he has money or he has more money, and I will never go these places if I don't if I don't have a boyfriend who will pay for me or like just all of these different things. And so to go and experience myself, I was like, it was like a fucking trip. Like I was like, oh my God. Like I felt this like I made it. Like I made it. And it wasn't about the things. It was just about having the choice to get the things if I wanted. You know, like it was just experiencing myself. And so I feel like Europe for me, this trip was just like actually around more around that, just around like a lot of awareness around that, experiencing myself in a really different way and um just placing value on myself, whereas I would have, I mean, I treated myself like shit pretty much majority of my life and like just discarded myself and abandoned myself and all those pieces. So I think just experiencing myself in that wholeness and that like richness and that more regulated state and just yeah, taking time even off work, which is really weird, you know, like to even that was like a big edge for me of being like, I'm not taking clients for 10 days and I don't have any major things. And like, luckily, I obviously have you as an amazing support system for Club Unhinged, but it was just like really interesting to even do that and noticing stuff that came up from that. And like, you know, a bit of that, like, can I do this? Am I allowed to do this? Am I allowed to take care of myself? And so it's titration. There's like there's a process to it, but it's been really cool because the more moments I know that you and I have in that arena where we experience ourselves so differently, I think it just makes us such better leaders for the club as well. Because that theme of reinvention that we always talk about, you and I have experienced the lack of all of these things, disconnection, the pain from the like, you know, all of it. And so to be experiencing the embodiment of that and that like we call it like the hot rich thriving woman, the fucking around and finding out just how good life can get, like playing to win, all these things. I embodied that more than I ever have on this trip. And it was just this like, oh, I wonder how good life can get. And I was like, oh wait, that's our motto.
And so it's not a surprise to me that like you're literally living the ethos
Yeah,
and the negativity bias wants to come in and literally drain all of that.
100%.
Like anything that you just shared could be like a piece that you lead with when someone asks how was your trip, and yet the default setting is my boyfriend and I had a fight.
But isn't that funny though?
Right.
Like I don't was just like, why did I just share all this stuff? Like I feel like I just went on like a tangent of all the things, but you're so right. Like all of those things I could share, right? There's so many more things that happened that were even more magic, like even beyond that magical. But it's the brain is like hooks on to the one thing of like,
Yeah.
well, that we got, but you guys got in a fight. And it wants to lead with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like we just want to get it out of the way to be like, all right, so I know you probably saw all these amazing things, but I just need to let you know. And I think it's also a survival thing around staying kind of like attached to people and not being like, because we talked about this yesterday, is that in our mentorship call, is that like having success and having things go well can actually be very threatening because that's when people come out and are like, well, who does she think she is? And oh, she must be all, oh, that's who she is now. Okay, she's off doing that. And they can be triggered and people can judge. And it exposes us to a lot of just a lot of backlash and feedback from other people that, you know, may not be super helpful. And I think this is why a lot of people hide the success or don't want to talk out about things. And you and I are like in the club, our whole thing is like, let's talk about it. Let's celebrate. Let's fucking lift you up. Let's help you calibrate your nervous system to hold good things and have things be easy and have things flow and to allow ourselves to not only have them but to fucking enjoy them and to speak about them so other people can see it's possible because that mind just comes in as like
Yeah.
almost snatch your joy and I'm going to tell you about the one thing that didn't go well. I'm like, oh my God, you like the nastiest street bitch out there.
Yeah, like yikes.
Yikes. Yikes. You want to come and snatch the joy. So I noticed that when I got back and I was like, no, I'm not playing that game. Trip was amazing. You know, like it's okay that that happened. Everything happened. Life is full of contrast. It's never all sunshine and rainbows. It's
Oh,
there's contrast, but what do we want to focus on? What do we want to give life to? What are we going to put energy into? It's like, I'm not going to play the game.
no. And if you want a life that you're actually obsessed with, you cannot be leading with all the shit that's not working. If you and listen, like don't take our word for it. Try it for yourself. Like for the next week, only talk about all the shit that isn't working for you and just see, notice how you feel. You're probably going to feel like a piece of shit. And after a full day of doing that, you're going to be like, fuck this. I cannot do this for a week. And that would be excellent. And then we want you to flip to leading with all the things that are going well and all the things that delight you and are expanding you and that you're proud of yourself for. Lead with that. And then notice how you feel when you do that. Because it's like night and day. But as you say, when you lead with what's going well and what inspires you and what is working, it is one of the most sobering things relationally that you will experience, because you will actually see what your relationships are made of. You will actually see the people that you keep around you. Are they in service to your greatest expansion, or are they keeping you stuck? Because if they only want to talk about what's going wrong and commiserating and like bitching and moaning and complaining, they are not interested in your expansion. In fact, your expansion is a complete threat to their identity. So they're going to be doing all of these unconscious things to undercut you when you are thriving, because it holds a mirror to them that they are not. And yeah, not a fun reflection. Not
sizzle, 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 Kel, sizzle, sizzle.
Oh, it's fucking true. It's true. And I think people don't realize that there is a cost of entry to a life that you're obsessed with. And the cost of entry, at least one of them, is you have to not only give up your victimhood, but you also have to purge connections. And this is the part I think that people get really, really fucked up with, because they're like, but I want to take everybody with me. And if I let them go, I won't have anyone. Well, in a world of billions of people, that is just not true. And you can always come and join Club Unhinged, and there's a bunch of badass bitches in there who are always going to have your back and be cheering and championing you as you excel and expand into your excellence and your greatness. But if we believe that story that the mind tells, that if I let them go, I'm going to be alone and there's going to be no one, and that feels too spicy on my system, then inevitably you're going to keep yourself in a smaller version of you, and you're going to cap your success. And the thing is, like, it's hard to come to terms with, but the fact that we might be our own worst enemy and that we might be the reason why we're not succeeding is a tough fucking pill to swallow. But a lot of the time it is true, because we aren't willing to make those sacrifices. We're not willing to lead with possibility and lead with expansion and lead with what's going well and what's working, because we're afraid of what we will lose when we do. And I don't know where I was. I think I was in a class last week, and she kept saying this one phrase. She's like, winners always win. Winners always win. And I was like, yeah, they fucking do.
Yeah, they do.
Even when they lose, they win, because they're framing it in a way that allows them to keep expanding, to keep growing, to keep learning, to keep evolving.
Yeah. What do I learn from this? How can I move forward? How can I get better and excel and all the things?
Right. And losers, they do that. They don't. They don't.
Why me?
It never works out for me. Everybody else it works out for. They must have like some magic pill that I don't. Well, they kind of do, because the magic pill is the framing, is the perception, is the way that you're orienting to your reality. And when you take inventory and look and see how much of my time am I spending commiserating and talking shit and talking about all the things that aren't working versus talking about the things that are working and that I'm proud of and that I've accomplished and I've achieved and I'm celebrating. If you aren't celebrating a fuck ton more than you're commiserating, you're going to be in a loser camp. Like, I'm sorry to say.
Camp loser.
Camp loser.
Choo choo, get on the train. Oh God. And you know what's funny is I do just want to say is that I feel like in the past, this conversation would have been triggering for me, because I would have been like, well, how do we celebrate when life is so hard and all these things? And, there's a difference between acknowledging what isn't going well, because we're also not about spiritual bypassing and just being like, everything's great, but it's around like being bold enough and courageous enough to celebrate ourselves and to speak it out loud, and to put ourselves in spaces and communities and have support where we can say like, hey, you know what? Today was shit. And I want to talk about it, or I want to have some support, or I just need to be heard, or I need to like using tools to not sit, as you would say, in like the swamp or sit in like the stew and masturbate into that being like, I hate it, but I love it, but I hate it, but I love it. And that's that like intoxicating, dirty kink in us that's like, we say we hate feeling shitty, but then there's a part of us who fucking eats that shit for breakfast. It loves it.
Wants it all the time.
Oh my God, it's like
So
obsessed.
horny for it.
It's so horny. It's like, oh my God, I love it. Here we go again. Something bad happened. Oh my God, I'm gonna like jerk off to it versus being like, oh, I'm addicted to chaos and I gotta nip that in the bud. I gotta like, look at these. I mean, this is obviously a higher level conversation because it's a very self-responsibility conversation. And these concepts and topics we talk about a ton in the club, but they fucking zing and there's like crazy transformation because once you see it, you can't unsee it.
100%. And I love what you're saying about like you celebrating your win isn't saying that there isn't shit going on in the world either. Because that's
Totally.
another spot where people will get stuck, whether it's like I can't acknowledge like when I've had a shit day, and then also like, but look at the world, it's such a mess, like how can I be happy and celebrate when the world is a dumpster fire? And it's like, well, if you don't celebrate and you don't carve a new paradigm and show people what's possible, all you're going to get in the future is more of what you've already had. And like, if we look at that on a global scale, if you don't like what's happening, then you have a fucking moral obligation to win. Like, you need to get in the fucking game and you need to play your heart out and do what your soul put you on this fucking earth to do. Like,
Hallelujah, praise the Lord. DR, make sure you take that and you turn it into a clip because that was fucking take me to church, preach that shit. I'm all in. Whatever you're selling, I'm in, Kels. Whatever you're selling, I'm in. Where's the credit card? What do I put in? Keep going, sorry.
Because when you start to invest into your mission, into your work, what your soul is here to do, you're carving a whole new paradigm that makes that old one obsolete, or at least gives it access to transform. And so many people are sitting in the fucking shit, bitching about how horrible everything is, but no one's talking about solutions. No one's talking about possibility. No one's talking about, okay, well, this is the problem. What are we going to fucking do about it? And you can only have those conversations when your internal infrastructure, when your identity is one of a winner. And when you know, like, I am a champion for what's possible, I am on the court of my life, and I am a living, breathing example of transformation. And if I'm doing that and I'm surrounded by other people who are doing that, eventually the scales are going to tip for enough people. But also, like, we have to give up this like addiction to utopia. Like, we're never going to have utopia on this planet. This planet, you are going to have contrast. So there are always going to be dumpster fires happening in the world. And again, if you get taken out by that, if you see, and this is literally what the news is designed to do, it's designed to get you in such a state of disbelief, of disillusionment, like everything's fucked. I can't do anything. It's so big, like there's nothing I can do about it, so that you never take action to self actualize what you are here to do, because those systems know if you are to do that, then it makes them obsolete.
Totally. Let's pump you full of carnage and information of chaos and insanity. I was actually having this conversation with my boyfriend because he's like a news junkie and like follows politics. And I said to him, I can't remember what he showed me. He showed me something about a baby being tear gassed he was just talking about something, like he was reading something. He's like, oh my gosh, a baby was just tear gassed in the state somewhere. And I guess there's a protest. And I just stopped and I said, listen, I said, that does nothing for me. Like that information, like I love you, but that information does nothing for me because like what am I going to do unless I'm going to do something about it? All it's going to do is put my system in a state of hypervigilance. I'm going to go into like a trauma response. You know what I mean? Like it's going to, that information is going to impact me and I can't do anything. So all the cortisol and the stress hormones that are going to get released in my body from reading that or from hearing about that is now going to do something in my body. And if I can't discharge that, that's gonna stay as stress hormones like pumping through my body. And this is what we do day in, day out, is that we have we're not designed to be taking in all of the trauma and the chaos and the terrible things throughout the planet of 8 billion people into our news feed. We were not designed for this. So we wonder why we're stressed out and we wonder why we're negative. We wonder why we feel paralyzed and completely disassociated and frozen because we were never fucking meant to be exposed to this. If I'm in a village or if I'm somewhere, like think back to when there was no cell phones.
Yeah.
Somebody calls me, they call my house phone. And then
Yeah.
the voicemail picks up, and then we're out doing our things. We get come home, and if I'm allowed to use the phone, maybe I check the messages, but it's like 6 days after. I'm
Yeah.
not like available. So not only do we have people pummeling us with messages, emails, Voxer, dings, fucking Telegram, like in TikTok, like there's so much stimulation. Plus, there's all the fear. Plus, there's all the thing. And so I said to Steven, like that the news doesn't seem to bother him. Like I don't know what he's like fucking Teflon. Like he just is like so like neutral about it. And I'm like for me, as I would call myself a highly sensitive person, it does affect me. And so he can read that no problem. And he's got, he can take that in. But I just said this, like I can't listen to that because I'm not doing anything about it. I don't have an urge to go do that. But what I can do, what I do have autonomy over, is being as successful and as on purpose and mission forward and mission led as I possibly can to help as many people unhook from all the chaos and build and design lives that they're obsessed with to motivate and to inspire other people to do the same so we can become a happier collective, and not because there's some like unicorn magical place that we're trying to get to, but we just to help tip the scales, to also to highlight the things that are working. Like I'm not going to subscribe to that because I know what that's going to do to my body. Like I don't watch the new, like everything I need to know fucking comes to me. Like if I need to know something, you better believe somebody's gonna say it. I've never not known something like that's important to me, but I don't need to know about all of the fucking carnage and like rapes and the things that are happening in like Syria and in these places. And some people might fucking hate me saying that. They might be like, you put your fucking head in the sand and you're a privileged white woman and all the things. I'm okay with you saying that. I don't care. Like, I'm okay. Like, if you want to come at me and be like, you're this, you're that, that's fine. But I know what keeps me on purpose and I know what keeps me on track. And I know I've had crazy stress and burnout and trauma and all sorts of things. And I'm not going down that path. I'm not going to expose myself to that. I'm very protective over my energy now because I have a big mission. You have a big mission. We have a big mission together. And I'm keeping my fucking one track mind on that because when I have the amazing resources and the overflow and all of that stuff, you better fucking believe I'm going to be sending fucking care packages. I'm going to be, giving money out. I want to spread that shit till the cows go home. But I can't sit here stressed out, overwhelmed, and make no change and be oblivious and think that like who the fuck am I helping?
Well, exactly. You
Like
can't,
you
because you
can't.
feel fucking helpless. And
Yes.
that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to actually make you feel helpless. And then we get all righteous and we think that if we go and yell at people on social media, that we're actually fucking doing something that moves the needle forward. And it doesn't.
Oh, it's just adding to more stress and more hatred and more of exactly what you
Yeah.
don't want. And this is funny because I know a lot of people who are afraid to post success. Like even me on my trip, I was like I feel like, there was a few moments where I was like, fuck it, I don't care. I'm just gonna show this side of me because I have no problem showing the dark side or like the stuff that's happened in my past. And so I'm gonna show the good stuff. Um, but I think that a lot of people are afraid because I have seen this in the online space where people will go and they'll say how much money they made or they'll have some sort of thing. And then people will come at them and be like, well, how do you enjoy that? And oh, must be nice, traveling first class when, babies are dying and
That's
famine and,
nice.
AIDS, all these like all it's like, how do you this? And I'm like, but what use am I
Mhm.
not self-actualizing, right? Like that's the big thing that I think keeps missing is like, so it would be like me being like, oh, okay, so I'm going to help a bunch of sick people by being sick as well,
Yeah, that you can't.
right? Like if my partner's sick, I'm not allowed to feel healthy and happy. It sucks. I have compassion. I feel terrible. Of course I want you to feel better, but me going and injecting myself and going and getting a cold to be vibrating down, to be in that state with them, that helps fucking nobody. We're just a sick collective. So let's have people, we do have privilege, like there, but let's fucking use it for something that matters. Like
100%.
let's build something that moves people, that impacts people. Let's create a movement. Let's like do something with your life force energy.
Mm-hmm. And the more money that exists in the hands of heart-led leaders, the more the world actually heals, because they aren't going to hoard that money. They aren't going to just keep it for themselves. They're going to spread it around, exactly like what you said. Like when we have abundance, when you give, from this place of overflow, that's what actually starts to move the needle forward. And so again, you have a fucking obligation. If you are like rah, 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 we need to change the world, then get in the game and make as much money as you fucking can so that you can go and do the outreach, the work, the transformation that you want to see in these communities. Don't just wait for some other organization or, some billionaire to do the work for you. Go out and make the money. Go out and be literally the embodiment of the transformation you want to see in the world, and then watch that needle start to move in a new direction. And like that whole like, must be nice thing. Honestly, I just think that is envy dressed up in drag. Like, because you cannot convince me that someone who like sends that shot out of like, oh, must be nice, would not, if they had the opportunity to have abundance and do the same thing you're doing, as if they would not take it. Like, let's get so fucking for real. Like, and when we can name what's actually there, and like if you ever have said that, oh, must be nice, clock it as your envy.
I've said that
And
many times.
yeah, same. And when you say that and you're like, oh, this is envy, and then you deconstruct that, like, oh, envy just means that there's a desire I have that I'm not in approval of. So what's the desire? And then once you connect with the desire, oh, who do I need to become in order to create that into form? And then you are off to the races on a very different trajectory, and you're following the flow of what feels good, and you're following the flow of your soul. And more people who can literally alchemize their envy into desire and then start acting congruently with that are the ones that are going to transform their families. They're going to transform their communities. They're going to transform their countries, the world around them. Like, we can't rely on these systems that we're like, all these systems are so broken and they're so oppressive. Well, stop relying on them then. Like, go and create what you are here to create so that you don't have to rely on those systems, and you can build new ones that are an expression of what you would like to see in the world. But again, you have to be connected to the vision. You have to be connected to possibility. You can't be stuck in the fucking mud of all the shitty things that have ever happened and let your negativity bias just spin you out. And like, the groundwork starts in your own life. It starts how you talk about your day. So if you want a world that's transformed, but all you're doing is talking shit about your day, I'm sorry to say, your world is not going to transform. And you are not going to see the transformation of the planet in your lifetime. But if you take that and you move and you're like, you know what, I'm not going to allow this negativity bias to pull me under, and I'm going to lead with celebration. I'm going to lead with what's going well. I'm going to lead with what I'm inspired by. And in the instant you do that, your world does transform. The people who are little fucking gremlins, they fall away. And there is this like limbo time where there is like the old's falling away and the new hasn't fully come in. And if you're in that reinvention space, like that's the time to get into the club, because you will immediately be surrounded by a bunch of badass women who are in seasons of reinvention, who are primed to see you clearly and champion you and cheer you and hold the line of faith and belief in those moments where you forget, and then you will hold it for them. And it's this beautiful ecosystem that happens that allows all of us to kind of run like wild horses together. And it's like that whole like rising tides like raise all ships. Like that's what happens inside of the club. Like it doesn't mean you can't have a bad day or you can't have a hard period of your life. Of course you can, but also you're framing it in a way that allows you to stay open and stay like in connection to your aliveness, instead of like ruminating in what's not working and see this will never work out for me, and like being in your victimhood about it instead, because that just sucks your life force energy. Like that'll kill your vitality like nothing else. And so we have to recondition ourselves so that we can move in this direction where all things do become possible, that you can be a rich fucking bitch and take that money and spread it all around, do all the humanitarian work you want to do, travel to these places that you're seeing that are breaking your heart and make a difference on the ground. That's how it happens. And it doesn't happen by you sitting around and talking shit about your day. Like it literally starts there. And so give yourself the gift of like trying that experiment this week. Like try it for a day, just talk shit about your life and like lead with everything that's not working and notice how you feel.
Probably start laughing.
I don't think I could do it, to be honest. Not at this point. And then the next day, do the complete opposite. Lead with everything that is working and what you're celebrating, and just notice how long it takes before that little gremlin of negativity is trying to pull you back. If you've been leading with negativity for a long time, you're probably not going to get a very long shot before it comes up. But then it's the process of being diligent with it and like, okay, no, I'm going back to following what feels good, what's expansive, what's working here, what am I celebrating? And you have to be diligent in that and methodical in it for a while until it becomes your new natural state and way of being.
Oh, I remember I went to an Eckhart Tolle show when he came to Vancouver, and I remember him saying in his little voice, he's like, negativity has a stickiness to it.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was such a good analogy because he's like, think about it. Like if somebody, in let's say in a classic office setting is like, are you guys ready? I have a story for you. And everyone's like, oh my God, tell me. Everyone's like around the water cooler. We rescued the most amazing puppy today. It's like,
Where's the drop?
okay, cool. Or like, got a, like, whatever, like a puppy, and a duck, ran together, or, cute one, whatever. People will be like, uh-huh. But if you're like, you guys, Becky, she was with Todd last night. Todd's married. And did you know that? Da, da, da? And it's like, that is like, everyone. Why do you think people stare rubberneck at car accidents? Why do you think people like anytime there's drama? Look at the Coldplay, like,
Oh, yeah.
scandal that just happened. I mean, like, it's just so funny. And I think Steve and I were talking about that on our trip, and I said, because we were in London, and of course, like up it says like Coldplay, all these dates, and it was like sold out, and I was like, oh well, apparently I'm like, it's brought Coldplay back into the
Yeah.
like back into it, and we were just saying how it's interesting. I said it's just so funny because it's like two people. And listen, I've been cheated on. I've had infidelity. It's not fun. I'm not endorsing that whatsoever. But you guys, infidelity happens everywhere, all over the globe, and it's just that these two people obviously had it, in the spotlight. But it's just so funny how people are ripping about the way she looks and just tearing these people apart. And I'm like, how fucking self-righteous of all of you, because like the people just suck into the negativity. And I'm like, you guys, sure, like look at it for 2 seconds and then be like, let's have also some nuance. Like we don't know their fucking partnership. They don't know the livelihood of the marriage. We don't know any of that shit. It's just like we just loved, as it's funny to see the collective just kind of hook into something and just exploit it. And I just think sometimes society has become a little bit it's just desensitized to everything. You know what I mean? We see so much. I think this is another problem with seeing so much news and so many things happening is that like you can watch a YouTube video of like people beating the shit out of somebody and or you see it live and nobody's stepping in, nobody's doing anything or terrible things happening and it's just like it become like it's like porn. Like you watch, people with the extreme stuff that's happening on there and all of a sudden, you know, missionary or doggy style feels like a fucking snooze cruise in the park because you're
Mhm.
like, well, I
Or
just
your
watched
dick doesn't
people.
work.
That's what I mean. It's like this ultimate crazy exposure. And so just think because this is obviously part of our brain and the way it works, it's like it makes sense of why we want to remember. Like it's just a fact of life that our brain and body are programmed to remember negative and things negative and those sticky things that happen to us because for survival, for safety. Like if we remember, don't put your hand on the stove, we're going to remember and it's going to help us down the road. But unfortunately in a lot of our life it isn't helpful. And so like you said, like practice leading with like retraining yourself to be like, what's working, what
Yeah.
am I doing well? There's so much satisfaction. I mean, there's so many physical things that it's going to help you with, obviously, like raising your serotonin and your dopamine and all the good feeling receptors, and it's going to spread joy and it shows other people it's possible. And you know yeah, it's just fascinating. But when we can actually actively look for the things that are working, it's a huge game changer. And then we feel better. And then we're like, I feel more motivated. And you know what? Maybe I'm doing a fucking great job. And, reflect on I got one of my clients. I was like, I could tell she was in a little bit of a rut with like where she was. And I said, listen, I want you to go back and look at the woman you were like 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of decisions and what kind of things would she be saying? She was
Mm-hmm.
like, holy fuck. And I was like, exactly. So like we forget our progress. We're us. It's like when you're like trying to lose weight or you're like working out a lot and like we don't really see a lot of change, but then you see somebody and they're like, "Whoa, you look amazing."
What have you
It's
done?
yeah,
Yeah.
what have you done? But for us, it's like these we see ourselves every day. We're in our head every day. And just remembering that like you've probably made insane progress.
Mm-hmm.
You're 2 feet from gold. You're on the edge of your expansion, and it all now is going to take is to like really kicking in and like celebrating yourself more and being like, and if you have resistance to celebrating yourself or speaking the things that are working, it's like, why is that? Right? Am I afraid that I'm going to get targeted or that people are going to be like, who does she think she is? Or am I afraid of the other shoe dropping? Because I know for me, like celebrating good things, I didn't want to celebrate. I wanted to like tell something good, but then like tell a bunch of bad things because I wanted to be like everyone else. I didn't want to separate myself from them. I didn't want to, lose connection to friendships or different pieces. Um, Rather than being like, how about I just upgrade
Mm-hmm.
my environments and the people
My
that I'm
social
with,
circle.
my social circle. How about rather than trying to, fit myself in, but just looking if there's any resistance and understanding it's very normal because as our nervous system is wired for connection and safety to our family of origin and the people that we know. So it makes a lot of sense. But putting yourself in spaces where people are up leveling and expanding and in the arena is pivotal to your transformation. It's going to remind you, if you are in a bit of a negativity train, like choo choo, is that it's going to help you come off of that because you're going to have people who are like, I don't even have time for that level of conversation. Like if you're going to sit and bitch and complain, like it's just no, there's not an energetic match to it, or you're just reminded, you know what I mean? Like putting yourself in those rooms is really helpful. But
100%.
um, yeah, we gotta level up, friends. We gotta level up, and it's the time. We're so capable. We are so much power. We have so much like we're just filled to the brim with magic and possibility. And so let's start using that to create and to celebrate and to show other people what's possible. Because if we don't speak our stories, you know people don't know and then we just keep subscribing and hooking back into mediocrity versus being like, holy fuck, if she did it, I can do it too. It's like the 4 minute mile. Like I've the amount of people, mentors and different people that I've seen where I'm like, I want to be in your world and I'm going to pay to be in it because I want proximity to somebody who's done something that is unrealistic and makes no sense, and I want that result. So I'm going to, rather than vilifying her and making her wrong and sitting there just bitching and keyboard mashing, oh, it must be nice, I'm going to go and figure out how the fuck she did it
Mm-hmm.
so I can do it too, and then teach others how to do it too.
Mm-hmm. Take me to church, Bano.
All right, I'm done putting down. Oh,
So we're going to leave that there for you today. Let that digest. Listen to it as many times as you need before it like really sinks in. And if you are ready to get in our world a little bit more, come into Panther. We've got this little Panther Lounge for you where you can get in on our teachings on a daily basis. We have audio courses in there. We have daily drops. We have behind the scenes, and it's a great place to kind of marinate in the energetics of the club before we open the doors again. So you can head to the show notes and subscribe there. And we will be back next week with something new, something different. We don't know what it's going to be. So stay tuned, buckle up, go have fun, go celebrate yourself. Also, if you haven't given us a 5-star review yet, please go do that. We would love you for that, but only 5 stars. And also, we're on YouTube now. So you can
Come
head over
have
there.
fun.
And if you want to watch us do these podcasts, you can go do that over there. So we love you. Thank you for being here, and we'll be back next week. Bye, friends.
Bye.
All in all, we want to say thank you for being here. We love and appreciate you so much. And if you liked today, give us a 5-star rating, and we'll see you next week.
And share it. If you know somebody who needs this in their life, share this shit. Abundance goes round and round. We love you.
We love you.
Bye.